What is up, guys? It's Rahul, and today we're going to be talking about Baltimore Regionals. The 2023 Pokemon season has officially begun. We are underway. Worlds is something of the past. It's already happened. We basically had no time to breathe in between Worlds and now. And the what am I trying to say? Baltimore is starting in like 5 days, 4 days, whenever I put this up. Yeah, 5 days. So you got to be prepared. If you're kicking off the season, getting some points at regionals early on would be pretty beneficial. Now, before I jump into kind of regionals and like the metagame preview and everything, I'm going to give you my initial analysis or I guess, guess on what I think the invite structure is going to look like. I think we'll probably have a best finish limit of either 6 or 8 regionals for the year, meaning that your best 6 or 8 regionals will be taken into account. All 4 of your internationals, and then we did get announcements saying that locals will be coming back in 2023. I think early 2023 is what it said. So that could be January, that could be February. They could be trying to coincide it with Scarlet and Violet release. We don't have further information at the moment, but that does mean cups and challenges are probably coming back in capacity. And so I think 4 cups, 4 challenges will be what we get with a 400 CP threshold for that day one invite, which I think is very manageable for a lot of players. And I think is something that you can do with a full season of notice. Now, that being said, we are kicking off with Baltimore, and that is the last tournament in the format that is Sword and Shield to Pogo. So once this regionals is over, the focus will be shifting to Lost Origin and Peoria for a lot of people, which is coming up in 2 weeks. Albeit, I have not looked at cards from Lost Origin too much besides the videos I made for you guys, because I will not be attending Peoria like I mentioned earlier. I can do like a roadmap, like a tentative roadmap for myself for the season if you guys would like, but I feel like it's just basically everything. Like I feel like that's a pretty boring video. Like I'm basically just going to go to whatever I can because I love playing Pokemon, and that's pretty much it. So without further ado, let's jump into the regional analysis. So Worlds happened. I never did a Worlds breakdown because I was gone the weekend or the week after I got back from Worlds, but okay. Big things to keep in mind. One of the big decks coming out of Worlds is this Arceus Flying Pikachu Decidueye deck. Now, Arceus Flying Pikachu in some capacity has now won 2 majors in a back-to-back fashion, meaning that it's won NAIC and then it won Worlds, which are 2 of the biggest majors of the year. And this deck has proven that it is here and it is going to be a threat. When you're going into this tournament, you cannot disrespect this deck. This goes into everyone's big 3. It might not be partnered with Decidueye anymore, but just on the off chance that people are playing Decidueye, you should be playing a Dunsparce. And if you are playing Decidueye, you should expect a Dunsparce, I think is the correct train of thought for these kinds of decks. I think that you can expect to see dark type stuff make its way back into the deck, either Galar Moltres or Crobat VMAX, whatever. You can see that in the 2nd and 3rd place lists with Daichi and Ryota. I think they were like a card or 2 off of each other, playing the, I'll do this way, you playing the Galar Moltres V, paired with the 2 Dark Energies to actually get the attack off when they need to, into Mew. And they also played the Jolteon line, which I don't expect too much of over Bibarel, because I think Bibarel is just simply better in almost every engine. And I think that if you're expecting stuff like Mirror, having the Jolteon package plus the capsules is pretty useless across the board. Now, Decidueye is very good against stuff like Mewtwo V Union to just get to that point in the game where you can play and just body their Miltanks pretty easily, but I don't think Mewtwo V Union will be there in much popularity. This will be one of the top 3 decks to deal with. It will be the problem child deck, I guess, that can just sweep matchups because of its innate power. Second up, I think Palkia will still be very big. Now, I don't think people will be playing the Crabominable like James did, but I do expect the rest of the shell to look almost identical to this. Maybe Crabominable gets cut for people's flex slots, but I think the rest of the shell should look virtually identical to something like this, because I think this was a very optimal list from James and Kaiwin. And Palkia is still one of the best decks, if not the best deck going first in the format. I think Palkia going first has some of the highest agency to do whatever it wants, paired with Iridas and Drizzles and stuff on turn 2. So it is one of the best decks in the format still, and you guys should be on the lookout or be prepared for Palkia in some capacity, because I think between Pikas and Palkias, you'll be hitting 5 or 6, I think, is like the number I would put it at. Like I think for Pika, I'd say 2 to 3. For Palkia, I'd say 2 to 3 in day 1, and that's like not including day 2, obviously. And I think better players will gravitate to Palkia decks, maybe even Flying Pika decks, because we did see like Azul bring it to NAIC and win, obviously. Andre Chiasan ended up getting top 8 with Mew, so Mew was a proven factor, and Mew does have a good Arceus Pika matchup, but does not have a good Palkia matchup necessarily. So you should expect to see Mew being played at regionals. Either with the fusion energies, this new build piloting the Pokestop 4 cross switcher build with only DTEs, or something with basic energies. I don't expect basic energies, but some combination or hybrid of these, maybe one with catchers, something like that will show up. But Mew, I think, is a deck that you have to be prepared for, because I think these are the undisputable, in my mind, top 3 decks that will show up in some capacity. Are they the 3 best decks? I don't know the answer to that yet, but I think those are the 3 decks that will show up, so you need to be prepared and have an answer into those. Now, we'll see decks like the thing that Grant Manley played with the Ice Rider Palkia as well, because Ice Rider has that aggressive nature to kind of one-shot these things like RCS Palkias, kind of win that one-shot war a little bit. And Ice Rider Calyx gives you a better, I guess, chance into Flying Pikachu. I don't know if the Empoleon's necessarily needed, that kind of stuff, but I do think you will see something like this a little bit, maybe like 5th. I would put it like 5 or 6, like most popular, like probably not up there. I do think this deck, I don't think Lucas's list was like necessarily normal. We're just going to open it and see what happens. Yeah, this doesn't look normal, but we're just going to pretend like this is. But RCS Inteleon is kind of the forgotten gem of after NAIC, where it performed so well in like it was like neck and neck with Palkia in terms of how it did at the tournament. But Arc Inteleon has an unfavorable matchup into Palkia, so going into Worlds, a lot of players gravitated off it, which made Arc Pika better, because Arc Inteleon should smash Arc Pika. But given the current nature of the metagame, I think Arc Inteleon is in a place where you can prey off the fact that Arc Pika is very popular in the meta. You can prey off the fact that Mew is a very good matchup for you, as long as you don't get blown up on turn 2. Palkia is like a 60-40, maybe 65-35, I don't exactly know, but you can still take your chances there and play to a tie maybe, at best against Palkia. I mean, at best you win, I guess, but like play to a tie. But Arc Inteleon is like your staple, standard, I'm boring, I'm going to make sure this deck works, I'm going to get through the format deck. And that's something that can't be underestimated, so you should be prepared to see Arc Inteleons. I don't know in what capacity. I'm going to just walk by this one. I'm going to walk by this one. Ross Coffin's single prize Charizard deck is a deck that I think I expect to see, like, I expect this deck to pick up a little bit of steam, probably not in the exact like shell that Ross played it with the 4 cross switchers, and all of this stuff, but like I do expect like maybe a build with like Raikou and like other energies and dark energies and stuff like that to kind of be more prevalent in this upcoming tournament, because I think there is a world where this deck is really good. So yeah. And then we have Pablo Mesa and some other people who played Regigigas, including myself at Worlds. And I think Regigigas is a very good deck actually heading into this meta. I've seen some lists with Quad Rope, I believe, heavier boss counts, kind of just making sure you get to that number, getting to the target you want, picking it off where you need to. And I think that goes a long way in this metagame, where if people are not teched for Reggie, and I think at Worlds, people are a little bit teched for Reggie, but I think when you're going to a regionals this big, and the Mew hype we're hearing, the Arc Pika hype we're hearing with heavy ropes, like heavy boss, like you should be able to smack Arc Pika, because Arc Pika can never go lone Pikachu, because you can just go into the Regice and all of a sudden Blizzard Bind wins you the game because they can't do anything. But if they go 2 Pikas, you can rope, boss kill a Pika, or like rope kill a Pika on the bench, and then Regice the other Pika until you win the game. Like, it's a very simple strategy, heavier ropes than this list, but I think you can expect to see Regigigas maybe like 5th in popularity, like 4th or 5th in popularity with Arc Inteleon. But those are the majority of decks I wanted to talk about in this metagame. We're at the end of a metagame, so I feel like people are not going to innovate too much. I don't think there's going to be something crazy or new that pops out of nowhere. I do think a lot of the World's players are a little bit burnt out still. I mean, there's probably a couple who are like gung-ho and like ready to just get back in it. But we did see in the London Open a lot of players, like the London Open results are not on here, unfortunately, yet. But I did see like the London Open people were posting results, and there was a significant amount of Arc Pikas that were doing very well in the London Open, or did very well in the Open. So you can already tell how the World Championships had an effect on like a regionals that happened the very same weekend. So I don't think people are going to look at that and say Arc Pika is not a tier 1 deck anymore. Like, people are going to have to respect Arc Pika. People are going to have to respect Palkia. People are going to have to respect Mew. And then I think Arc Intel kind of lost a lot of its steam, its popularity, its respect, whatever you want to call it. And it fell a little bit down the like bracket, like the gutter kind of thing. And then Gigas, single price stuff, like that garners some respect. I don't think it requires a ton, but you probably hit like 1 Gigas maybe in the whole tournament, 1 single prize box in the whole tournament. But you should be prepared. You should have an answer how to play into those. We're at the end of a format, which means it's like you should know how to kind of maneuver these situations against some of these matchups rather than winging it, because we're not in like a new format with Lost Origin or something, and you don't know like how to, like what a Giratina deck should look like. You should be very familiar with all these decks. So if you're going to Baltimore, good luck to everyone picking up your points. I will be at Baltimore. It's a like hour, less than like a little bit less than an hour drive for me, so I will be begrudgingly making my way there. I would have loved to take a break this upcoming weekend, but you can't pass up on the one that's closest to your house. So I will be making my way over there, and we will be gunning for. Well, I just want to win. I just want to win the tournament. So that's what we're going to be doing. Thank you guys for watching, as always. Let me know in the comments if there's some sort of competitive stuff I can help with, because I know that I have a different like level of understanding of the game and what's going on. So I want to make sure that I can kind of cover stuff at a basic level or a more base level if I can, and I would appreciate that a ton. So thank you guys, and I will be trying to do 3 videos a week as always, and we'll get there. Thank you guys.